like. It says it's preparing. This meeting is being live streamed. You'll have to click
Got it.
allow. Oh, looks like we are live. I don't have any. Here we go. All right. So I'm Willie. James is on here as well. You should be able to see James, I think, in the live stream. And we want to welcome you all here this evening. This is something we've never tried before, which is a live stream from Zoom. And we're going to share our screen, and we are going to install ZeroTier on OPNSense and get a little network going between our house. James, I talk about James quite a bit, and but he's never been on live stream. James, why don't you say hi to everybody and give a little bit about yourself?
Hello. I work with Willie on PBX installs and do some of the networking stuff as well.
All right. I hope everybody could hear James. Can you let us know in the comments if you could hear James? There is a little bit of a delay. There's about a 5 to 10 second delay between what James and I are saying and what Zoom is putting on the live stream. So before we get too far into it, we will we'll let everybody tell us whether they could hear you or not, James.
Perfect.
And this is a kind of a precursor to our Bits and Bourbon podcast that's coming up. If you're going to have an adult beverage, drink responsibly. And I'm drinking a little bit of Maker's Mark 46 tonight. James, what do you got?
I've got some Crown Royal tonight.
All right. So the OPNSense setup should go pretty smoothly. So, all right. Everybody is telling us that they've got audio on both sides. So I think we're going to get started. So I'm going to get just a little bit about what we're going to do. James has an OPNSense installation at his house. I have an OPNSense installation here. And what we're going to do is we're going to install ZeroTier, and then we are going to set up the network between our houses. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen real quick. Let's see if this works. Let's see if this is where it falls apart on us. All right. James, can you see my screen?
Yep, sure can.
All right. I'm hoping that everyone at home can see the screen as well. Aragorn Strider says drinking and configuring. What could go wrong? Nothing when it's James and I. So if you don't know what ZeroTier is a VPN type application that has client software for OPNSense, PFSense, the edge routers, your phones, your laptops, pretty much everything. And it is ZeroTier. The service that they host is out on Amazon, and ZeroTier is one of the few VPNs that can get around CGNAT or carrier grade NAT. Can also usually get around double NAT. So James and I have a client, and James and I are also going to have to be working on CGNAT. So I don't know which one of us is going to get Starlink. James, you going to do that, or am I going to do it?
I'll let you get that one.
How about this? How about we'll get it? We'll set it up here, and then I'll ship it to you.
There you go.
Okay, so to use ZeroTier, they do have a free platform, and that's what James and I are going to be using tonight, is the free platform. So if you go to ZeroTier.com, you can read all about it. You can see that ZeroTier is now available in MikroTik router OS 7, which is absolutely fantastic. So I've already created an account, and you can see the network ID. Now, I don't let any devices just join this network. The devices have to be authorized. So while you can all see that network ID, it won't do you any good to pop it in there and try to mess with us, because I'm only going to authorize James's device and my device. So the first thing we're going to do, and I'm going to show you my setup, and then James is going to share his screen and show his setup. So my OPNSense The LAN address is 192.168.222.254, and it's actually the second gateway in that network. But then the WAN address is 192.168.66.136, and it is DHCP. So we know that DHCP, unless you're using a fully qualified domain name, presents a certain set of challenges for traditional VPN products. James, you want to go ahead? I'm going to stop sharing, and then you can share your screen and show everybody your setup here.
Sure.
And Ryan Sharp says it just works. Quite the marketing there. Well, let me put it this way. It's supposed to just work. All right, James, what do you got for us? You're on mute.
Yep. I got a little one that's insisting on me helping him with a popsicle. So.
Well, you know what? It's Saturday night. You're working at home with your family. If you need to stop and take care of a popsicle, stop and take care of a popsicle, brother.
Okay, so yeah, this is the main router and the latest version of OPNSense. You see, I don't use DHC or IPv6 on it, but pretty vanilla setup, really.
Okay, cool. And then I know you probably have a public WAN address, so we don't want to show that. But what is your inside network that we're going to be connecting to?
So it'll be 192.168.4.1.
Okay, perfect.
Or 4.0. Right.
What I'm going to do is, you want to go ahead and stop your screen share. I'll go ahead and pop mine on again.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see here. I'm going to do my screen share again, screen one. Okay, so this is what we're going to do real quick. We're going to hop over to ZeroTier Central. And you can see that the network that I have selected is this 172.24.0.0/16. That is an obscenely large network, so we're not going to use that. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to select something different. We're going to use like, let's do, James, you have any druther on any of these network addresses?
Nope. Yeah, I don't use any of those, so whatever you want.
Okay, well, I'm going to delete the managed route that I got, that ginormous network there. And I'm going to, let's see, we're going to go to easy, and we're going to go to 10.147.17.0/24. And we are going to uncheck the auto assign, because we are going to go ahead and manually put IP addresses on our ZeroTier interfaces. Okay, James?
Yep.
All right. So the next thing that we're going to do, and James, I'm going to go ahead and do this, and then I'm going to stop my screen share, and I'll let you share, and you can do the same thing. Okay. All right. So the first thing that we've got to do is we've got to go to system, and we've got to go to firmware, and then we're going to go to packages. So ZeroTier, I'm sorry, I think it's plugins. I think I said that wrong. Got to let it update here. Yeah, so it is plugins, and you have to install the ZeroTier package. Now you can see that mine is installed. I've been doing some troubleshooting on another network, but I'm going to go ahead and remove it just so that you can see what it's like to actually have to install that. So if I go back to plugins, when you first go there, so as you'll see on James's screen when he does this, I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom, and I'm going to install the OS-ZeroTier package. All right, my ZeroTier package is installed. So now, if I go down here to firewall, I'm sorry, VPN, I should have ZeroTier. So that is step one. So James, I'm going to let you share and take over and let you do that exact step. We're going to do this in kind of one-to-one, so that way if we mess anything up, we might be able to go back and troubleshoot it.
Yep. Okay, so system. And we go to firmware,
Yep. And then it's a plugin.
plugin. And go all the way down.
That OPNSense is running pretty speedy. What kind of hardware are you running that on, James?
That's a Protectly. That's Willie Howe special.
All right. So now it looks like you got a little something going on. So now if you go down under VPN, you should.
Oh,
might have to wait a second. Yeah. I've seen it take a couple minutes to populate. I thought with all your spinny things stopping, it might be there.
When in doubt, refresh.
Yes, sir.
There we go.
There it is. All right. So what I'm actually going to do, James, is we're going to walk through. Let's walk through the next step. Since you're already sharing your screen, let's walk through the next step on yours.
Okay.
So go to ZeroTier settings, and you're going to click enable, and you're going to apply that. And then you're going to go to networks, and you're going to add a network there. And I'm going to copy and paste maybe into the chat our network. So you can just copy and paste it.
Okay.
So I just put it in the chat.
All right.
And then you can give it whatever meaningful description you'd like. Cool.
Go ahead and save.
Yep. And go ahead and enable that. And now if you go to overview, we should see that you're connected out to the ZeroTier platform. And there you are. So if you go to peers or networks, you should have populated information in both of those tabs. Yep. So you can drop that down. And now we don't have, so we've got no DHCP. We're not bridging. So you can bridge with ZeroTier, right? And then under peers, I don't think there's going to be anything because I'm not set up there. So if you're not familiar with ZeroTier, they use planet, leaf, and then there's one other term kind of in there, the way they lay things out. All right, so real quick, I'm going to do the exact same thing that you did. So if you want to go ahead and stop sharing, I'll share mine. Let's see here. This is going pretty smooth. I don't want to jinx us, but let's see here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to plugins. I already did that. So I'm going to go to ZeroTier settings. I'm going to enable it. I'm going to go to networks. I'm going to put our network in there. And this will be WHT. We'll save that. And that's enabled. And so now if I go to overview, I'm going to click apply one more time, just to make sure. If I go to overview, I should see the network. It's not populating yet with the correct one. For some reason, it's holding on to my old one that I was connected to. Yep, save that.
See, you said it was going too easy.
See, I jinxed us, didn't I? Let's see here, networks. All right, so let's go to ZeroTier, and we added that. Well, maybe if we do, you know what I'm going to do real quick, just for giggles, is I'm going to reboot this. Now, this is not my main gateway, so you are not all going to lose this, but I am going to go ahead and reboot. And so while that's rebooting, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And James, if you want to pick up, we'll go to the next step.
Yep.
So the next thing you want to do, James, is you want to go to interfaces. And you want to go to assignments. And under new interface, if you drop that down, you're going to see the ZTA. That's your ZeroTier. So go ahead and click that and then put whatever you want in the description. And then save that. And now go ahead and go to that interface. Did it save it? Oh, you forgot to click the plus.
Okay.
I do that occasionally.
There we go.
Give me just a second here. Making sure my network stayed on the ZeroTier. Man, ZeroTier on my side is not wanting to let go of that old network, which is weird.
Even after a reboot.
Even after a reboot. So if anybody from OPNSense is watching this, that's kind of concerning a little bit. All right, go ahead and click prevent interface removal. And then I go ahead and let's do a static IPv4. And I'm going to give you the IP when you get down there. And then you're just going to leave the gateway the way it is. But your IP is going to be 10.147.17.1. And then it's a /24 there. So go ahead and save that. And I'm going to see what the heck is going on with mine.
You want me to apply the changes?
Yep, go ahead and apply the changes. Are you going to drop, you think, for a second, or you think you're going to be good?
Yeah, I applied them, so.
All right, let's see here. All right, go to your go down to your OPNSense setup. And what we're going to do is we want to look for your address under the VPN setup because I need to make sure that this is you, or I don't know if this is you or me because I just authorized it. So that's the other thing that you've got. That's you. So I'm going to say James. And then what I gave you 10.147.
That's
17.1. And it looks like you are connected. Mine is still kind of being a pain in the butt. So let me try this again. Real quick. I'm just going back over the same steps that James has already done. Save that and enable it. So now, okay, so at least I see the new network now. So now, if you're not familiar with ZeroTier, I'm not going to show you the page where I'm authorizing, but that page where I scrolled down and you saw the devices. The thing is, it'll have James's IP and it'll have my WAN IP. And it's not that we don't love and trust you all, but you know, I don't think it's good practice to be flashing our WAN IPs. What about you, James?
No, not at all. If it can be helped.
All right. So I just authorized my device. So let's see, James, if you want to go ahead and pass me screen share again.
Okay.
So I'm going to do screen share. All right. So now we're back on mine. So I'm going to do the exact same thing that James did. I'm going to assign that ZeroTier interface, except here's something interesting. My system, do you see that, James? My system shows 2 ZeroTier interfaces, which I was not expecting. Let me stop sharing for a second so I can figure that out, because that's not good. Let's see here. I think we found a bug in the ZeroTier interface for the ZeroTier folks. Let's see if there's any indication here which network this should be. See, this is what everybody doesn't see. When a video gets cut and put on YouTube, all this stuff that you and I are doing, like figuring some of this stuff out on the fly, people don't get to see this. So I'm going to check the Mac. Let's see, ends in 7F11. Okay, so that one's me. All right, so I'm going to start my screen share again. And yeah, I'm a little nervous doing this live. I don't know about you, James, but everybody's kind of like watching the process. So that adds another layer on top of it. It really does. Usually James is chatting my ear off. All right.
Probably so real red in the face right now too.
So there's ZeroTier. So now I'm going to go in and I am going to edit my interface. I'm going to enable it, prevent it. It's going to be ZeroTier. IP version 4 is going to be static. And I gave you 10 dot what?
147.17.1.
So I'm going to be .2. And I'm going to apply that. So now the theory is, oh, we got one more thing we got to do. So I'm going to go ahead and do it while I'm here. We got to go to firewall. And we got to go to rules and ZeroTier. And then we have to add an allow all rule. Otherwise, no traffic will pass over ZeroTier. So we're going to do that right now. So I'm literally just going to click the add, and I'm going to go down and click save, because that is a allow any rule. And I'm going to pass the screen share over to James real quick so he can do the same thing.
Okay. All right. So firewall.
Mm-hmm.
We go to NAT.
Nope, rules.
Oh, I'm so used to going to NAT.
And then, yep, go to your ZeroTier and then just add the default any rule. Okay, so now in theory, James and I have everything set up, except I need to do one more thing over at ZeroTier Central. But just for grins, James, you should see if you can ping. You should see if you can ping my ZeroTier interface from your OPNSense box.
Right now, I can't.
So if you go up to ping, or go up to the search bar up there and search for ping.
Okay, here we go.
Yep, and then the source address, you'll want to select your ZeroTier source address. See what happens.
Okay.
Is it alive? Is it dead?
Looks good.
Look at that. 2 received. So we have 33.3% packet loss. You want to run it one more time just to see if that's a fluke? Because here's what I'm running into with ZeroTier on OPNSense lately, is that the interfaces come up, they pass traffic for about a half hour, an hour, and then they die. But look at that. Wonder why you got one lost. That's weird. All right. So the next thing that we've got to do is over in ZeroTier is I've got to add some routes. So James, if you want to go ahead, I'll start screen sharing again. If you want to stop, I think this is working pretty well. What do you think?
Yeah, so far.
All right, so back to this. So now what I've got to do here in the routes is I'm going to add a 192.168.222.0/24 route. And that is going to be via my OPNSense, which is 10.147.17.2. And then I'm going to add a route for oops. I accidentally deleted the default route. That was a slip on my part. Hold on. How do we get that back?
No save button.
Well, you know what I could do? Well, what happens if I just refresh the page without clicking submit?
Yeah.
It's still gone. Well, that's powerful right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go start. Go to easy, select our range. It added the route back. We're going to uncheck auto assign. We just saved the day, James. All right. So you're the 4 network over there, right?
Yep.
And you are 10.147.17.1.
Yep.
So I'm going to submit that. So now if we go over to ZeroTier, go to VPN, ZeroTier settings, or peers. Let's see here. And I expand. So my default network was called Insane Hetherington, whatever that is. ZeroTier made that up. Kudos to them. If I take a look, I can see the routes were published to the ZeroTier network. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to pull up a ping on my side. I'm going to see if I can ping James's ZeroTier from my ZeroTier. Let's see what happens here. Now, since James's router is his actual gateway, in theory, what should happen is James should be able to open a command prompt and ping my workstation, since it's in the, no, that may not work because I need to add a route. So you're going to get to see me add a route too, because I've got 2 gateways and my default gateway is 222.1 and the OPNSense box is 222.254. So I'm going to have to add a route to James's network to go through 254 while we're doing testing here. So let me do that real quick. I'm going to stop sharing. Hey, James, while I'm pulling up this command prompt real quick.
Yep.
Do you think we're going to have any luck getting VoIP to work through the Starlink? I mean, do you think it's going to be a CGNAT? Do you think CGNAT's going to mess with this? Do you think it's going to be latency? What do you think the deal is going to be?
I think we might have problems with CGNAT. Now we do have a customer in California that is currently on CGNAT, and we haven't had too many problems with Telmix. They are on the list to get Starlink. So we're going to be forced to look at it, but you know, there's an option in the UCM 6300 series that in the VoIP trunks that talks about a remote connect SIP trunk that you configure from gdms.cloud.
Oh.
So I'm wondering if we will be able to use that feature to get around CGNAT as well.
Interesting. I'm looking forward to that.
Yep.
All right, so I've got my command prompt up here real quick. We're going to share this. And I always have to look for the syntax on this command. So do route. So it's route add. And by the way, if you're adding routes manually to your Windows machine, you have to start your command prompt as an administrator. So even if you're an admin on your local machine, you still have to right click on command prompt and go to run as administrator. All right, so I'm going to do route add 192.168.4.0 mask 255.255. That's just a class C, right, James?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to put my gateway in as 192.168.222.254. So now in theory, I should be able to ping 192.168.4.1. And I cannot. It is expired in transit. That's interesting. And the reply came from the ZeroTier interface on my OPNSense box. And I got to wonder if it's because of some goofy, some sort of goofy redirect issue or something like that. So let me do this. Let me stop my share. James, can you bring up a command prompt over on your side?
Yep.
And just try to ping 192.168.222.254, which is my OPNSense LAN port.
Okay, so what was it? 192.168.222.254.
Yep. And you're also getting a timeout to the OPNSense box. So that's interesting. What's your IP on your MacBook?
Oh, let me see real quick. 4.245.
4.245. So let me try to ping you. 192.
You want me to stop sharing?
No, that's okay. You're 4.245.
Yep.
And I'm going to ping you from my LAN, and I'm only going to ping you 3 times. Let's see. So we can ping ZeroTier interfaces, but it doesn't seem that the traffic is being routed over that for some reason. Yeah, you can't ping my interface either.
Nope.
So I'm getting some sort of weird timeout. That's interesting. I wonder if you can ping. I wonder if from your let me see if I can ping 4.1 from mine. Can you ping your ZeroTier interface, the .1?
All right, let me check. I'll go ahead and share that.
Yeah, I can't ping your interface either. Let's see.
I do get a reply on my interface.
So it's like the OPNSense box isn't passing the traffic across the tunnel for some reason. Maybe somebody in the comments has an idea of where we're screwing up, because I've never had this much difficulty getting ZeroTier to work. Let's go to the comments. Let's see here. All right. Anybody in the comments got any idea where James and I might have taken a wrong turn? Nobody's saying anything yet, but there is a little bit of a delay. And this is, this traffic's never worked, which is different than the other case that I'm having, which is where the traffic works and then just mysteriously stops. So
I can ping from the interface. I can ping. I'll share here.
Yeah, let's
see.
I
am sharing it, right?
I see your command prompt still.
Okay, hold on. Sorry.
So you can ping. Why can I not ping your 4.1? You got some firewall. Do you allow pings to your 4.1 interface?
I have the default rules, so I mean, I should be able to.
4.1. Let me look at my routing table.
And this is from OPNSense, but when I ping from my command prompt, I can't hit that. So
when I bring up my routing table, I've got a bunch of garbage routes. I think I found the problem. All right, let me share my screen here, James.
yeah.
I have a bunch of remnants from the other setup that I was testing. Can you see this?
Yep.
Just so happens that the customer that I was testing with also has a 192.168 4.0 network. And I'm wondering if that's part of the problem. I wonder if I need to delete these, and kind of what tipped me off to what might be happening is this is the voice network on one of their routers. This 172.16.2.0. And then the 192.168.2 is one of their other networks. So it's like the routing table didn't update. So I'm going to delete these routes. So weird, James.
I was gonna say you can add a 3-dot network as well. That's my VoIP network.
Well, we'll have to configure that on ZeroTier as well. But I am going to go back through this video when we're done, and I'm going to do a write-up for the package maintainer for the ZeroTier plugin for OPNSense, because I think they've got to just put some polish on this. Let's see, make sure nothing else is going there. So I wonder if I go to VPN in ZeroTier and I disable this. Okay, I can't click on networks until it's enabled. So if I now re-enable it, which in theory starts and stops the service. If I go to networks, now I only see the one network. Let's go to overview, networks. Still seeing the old network, which is weird. But let me expand our network. Okay, I see the two networks that we're advertising. So now let me bring up my routing table. Look at this. It kept the damn old routes even after I deleted them. There's something like crazy going on with this ZeroTier package. It's hanging on to all kinds of old stuff. So I wonder.
I think you're gonna have to disable it, then remove the package, reboot, and then start over maybe.
Well, and you know what? I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to open another browser. I'm going to log into ZeroTier, into that customer ZeroTier, because I wonder if my device is still authorized over there, which is causing even some sort of other weird issue that we don't know about. So let me do that real quick. Because if for some reason, let's see. Networks, I want to unauthorized, and I actually am going to delete my machine from over there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back. I'm going to reboot mine just to see my OPNSense, to see what happens. I've been so impressed, James. I don't know about you, but I've been super impressed with the UCM 6300 series and all the new stuff that's been added in Wave.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a couple of the 6300As on order so that we can do high availability videos.
Yeah. It's really nice that they've opened up the high availability. You don't need the the HA100 between the devices anymore.
That's super nice. Super nice. All right, James, what else has been happening in voice over IP world while we're waiting for this reboot?
You know, on our end, on this side, we've got quite a few customers that are coming in. You've kept me busy the past couple months. We have a lot of people coming in. We're still working on our biggest client, which is surpassed actually what they told us for phone count. So they originally were at 680 phones, and I talked to them Friday night. They are over 700 at this point.
So wait a minute. Say that again for the people at home. That's over 700 handsets connected to a Grandstream UCM 63. Is that an 08?
Yeah, I believe it's an 08. Yeah.
And it's running on high availability, right?
It is, yes.
So we can't tell you the name of the customer unless they tell us it's okay. I'm hoping that James and I will get a chance to actually film some video on site.
Yeah, I think we both want to go to that site.
Let me see. All right, so you're not going to believe this. I rebooted and those routes are still there. So I'm going to delete them. I'm going to delete the routes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to manually add a route. So I'm going to go to configuration. I'm going to add 192.168.4.0/24. And I'm going to make it, I don't have a gateway. So I'd have to create a gateway to do this. See, that's the thing about ZeroTier is it's supposed to just do it. And I can't even make this up, James. No sooner did I delete those and they are back. So that is definitely the problem between you and I. Let me see if there's a way. I'm sure there's a command line way to go in there and like completely purge all this stuff. But what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to delete my interface. I'm going to undo basically what we did and redo it real quick. Let's see here. So it'll take me just a second. James, if you want to keep talking a little bit about some of those advantages of 6300 series, I'll let you know when I'm done.
One of the big things that I think everybody should look at right now is Grandstream kind of split off the 6300 series. So you have the regular 6300 and then you have the 6300A and the whole 63, 01, 02, 04, 08 line with an A behind it. And it strips out the video conferencing. So, a lot of people already use Teams, they use Zoom, multiple video conferencing services. And the price difference, taking that video conferencing out of that PBX really makes it affordable for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you've got one on the way. It should be there, what, Monday?
Yeah. Hopefully Monday on time. That's it.
That's funny.
We'll see.
Let's see. There's got to be a way to purge these plugin files. Let's see. I'm going to Google that real quick.
I think we just need to reach out to the OPNSense team and tell them, we can break it. So
yeah, we definitely broke it. Let's see here. Oh, this person says I ended up reinstalling OPNSense. Well, that's no good.
Yeah,
I don't have time for that tonight.
I wonder if you do a backup and then reinstall OPNSense and restore from the backup, if it would pull it down.
I don't know. That's a good question.
It's still, a lot of effort.
Yeah. Let me see. Let me think about that for a second. So in theory, it shouldn't take that long. The problem with the OPNSense install seems to, for some reason, it seems like it takes longer than what it really does. Let's see.
For me, it's always remembering what button in core boot to hit to boot off the USB drive.
Yes. Let's see here. Yeah, so with the plugins, let me see if I can, let's see, OPNSense, delete ZeroTier configuration. Somebody else has Googled it. ZeroTier interface nuked. Then there's a bunch of like Reddit posts like struggling to use ZeroTier. Let's see.
So another way to do it, possibly, Willie, is what if you go to system and then defaults and default the whole system and try to restore from a backup?
Well, I could just reconfigure it real quick, maybe, because I've got access to the command line. Where's that at? System.
So system and then configuration, I think, and then you got backups and defaults. So you could try a backup and then set it to default and then try again.
Let me pull up 192.168.
That's going to reset it to 1.1. I don't know if that.
Let me. Let me log into I've got a Synology that I'm running this in a VM on so that I can do things like this and not interrupt the entire network. Sorry about that if your family gets upset if we interrupt your network.
They're used to it at this point.
Mine scream quite loud. Let's see here. Oh, interesting. So that's interesting. Let me see. Root OPNSense. So I just need to write this down because my interfaces are a little weird. Let me find something to write this on. Hey, James, how do billboards talk?
What's that?
How do billboards talk?
Oh, boy. How?
In sign language. Okay. I got to write this down real quick. My LAN is EM1. My WAN is EM0 DHCP. My LAN is 192.168.22.2254. No DHCP. So here's what I'm going to do is from the command line. I think I'm going to go ahead and share this real quick so everybody can see exactly what I'm doing. So here is the command line for OPNSense. James, can you see that?
Yep.
All right, so here's what I'm going to do is I am going to click in there first of all, and I am going to reset to factory defaults. And I'm going to say yes. And so now my OPNSense box is factory defaulting. I didn't really do that much work to it, so I'm not super upset about this. So we'll see what happens here. You can see it as factory defaulting.
Was that the end of that glass, or you still got some in it?
I still got about an ounce in there, 2 ounces maybe.
Oh, good.
All right, so why?
I mean, I got my bottle right next to me, so
I should have brought mine. Let's see here. Why isn't this thing wanting to work all of a sudden? Virtual machine manager, virtual machine. Oh, it's powered off. Power on. Connect. All right, so now you get to see all of the things about OPNSense booting. I hope this is all very interesting to somebody out there. I hope we're helping somebody. what we're going to do as soon as this boots, we should have default username and password, which is root with OPNSense. And then we're going to go ahead and reconfigure the interface. And I'm not going to import a configuration. And this is the latest ISO, so it has all of the updates. No VLANs. Okay, so EM0 needs to be the LAN. So WAN is going to be, or EM0 needs to be the WAN. And it needs to be, in LAN, needs to be EM1. And we're not doing anything else. So WAN EM0. And yes, we want to proceed. Configuring LAN interface is done. EM1, which is the LAN link state, configured to down. If for some reason I drop offline, it's because this thing fired up a DHCP server and I can no longer get to the internet. It's taking the interfaces up and down. I know this is terribly exciting. This is what James and I do for fun. All right, so we're root OPNSense, and we are going to set interface IP addresses. So we're going to set the LAN. And yes, we want to configure IP version 4. No, we do not want IP version 6. No, we don't want IP version 6 at all. I said no. Do I want to change the web GUI? No. Yeah, let's do a new self-signed certificate. Yes, we want to do. Oh, I screwed up. See what I did there?
Which one?
I accidentally told it to get the LAN interface via DHCP. It probably did too. That's totally, I totally just jacked that up. Set IP addresses, 1. Set via DHCP, no. 192.168.222.254 and 24. I just did that right, didn't I? For a WAN, enter the new LAN. Oh yeah, there's none.
Yeah.
No. I feel like I'm on the struggle bus tonight. You want to enable DHCP? No. Yes. Okay. So now, in theory, the theory is behind this that I should be able to log into this. And okay. Yeah, so it's starting the wizard. That's cool. Next. Willie Lab. Willie.com. Check that. 1.1.1.1. 8.8.8.8. And next. And that's fine. WAN is fine for DHCP. We're going to uncheck block those because we're inside of that. I'm going to leave the root password the same. We're going to reload those changes. And we'll just check the firewall rules real quick just to make sure that it did what it said it was going to. So WAN, yeah, you got to add a default WAN rule. And make sure our LAN rules, our LAN rule is good. Okay. So now I'm going to do everything that you did, and I'm going to do it really fast and try not to F it up. Let's see. Let's see here. Plugins. Install ZeroTier. Now, if it still has the configuration, I'm done for the night. I'm telling you, if it still holds on to that old network, I'm peace out and I'm going to bed. All right, VPN.
You know, every time we drink, I think I just picture or hear in my head Unky Joe saying chat jumped.
Let's see here. I'm going to stop this share for just a second. I'm going to delete my old authorization out of there. I am going to enable this. I'm going to add the network ID. I'm going to enable that. I'm going to go back to ZeroTier. I'm going to refresh that. I'm going to authorize. Well, I thought I was going to, but guess what's not happening?
Not deleting it.
Now my machine's not showing up for authorization. Let me make sure that this thing is enabled.
Yeah, don't you have to add the ZeroTier package? And
I did that.
Okay, copied that in.
Dude, you are not going to believe this.
Still holds it in.
It is still holding the old configuration. So I don't know if it's pulling that from ZeroTier because this machine was also authorized. Here's what we're going to do. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. Oh, this is a mess. All right.
We can switch to the 3-dot network if you want.
Well, that's also got a 3-dot network on it, right?
Oh.
So now the problem is even blowing out the OPNSense configuration and rebuilding it and reinstalling the package, it must be pulling it from ZeroTier because I still see the old network. So I don't know if I'm going to have to reinstall OPNSense or what, but at this point, I'm going to have to get my OPNSense installation correct before we can proceed. So this is how you learn things, right? Live and learn and configure things, and things don't work the way you think. So I think what I'm going to do for now, James, is I think we'll wrap up the stream. You got anything else you want to let the folks out there know?
Nothing. If you need anything from us, reach out.
Absolutely. And what we're going to do is we're going to wrap up this live stream. So I'm Willie. That's James. And we're going to go ahead and wrap this live stream and figure out what in the heck is going on with ZeroTier. So if you need anything from us, you can go to williehowe.com. James is probably the best PBX guy in North America, probably even better than me. And so if you want a chance to work with him, make sure you get a hold of us. And as soon as I figure out what in the world has gone south with this ZeroTier setup, James and I will be back to do this live.
Yep.
All right. So we are out of here.